Greetings to all. Today we are going to learn about lesson resources. Geography lesson 1. Everything in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs and is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally accessible is termed as resource. Human beings themselves are essential components of resources. They transform material available in the environment into resources and use them. Classification of resources. Resources can be classified in the following ways on the basis of origin. They are called as biotic and abiotic resources. You can see the examples of biotic resources. On the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable resources. On the basis of ownership, individual, community, national and international resources. Individual resources are private owned land or wells or houses. Community owned resources are these graveyards, parks, etc. International resources, oceans. On the basis of status of development, potential resources, developed potential resources like sun, and developed resources coal, petroleum, natural gas, minerals, and stock water. Reserves are water, river water, solar, wind, forest, and biogas. On the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic resources. Biotic resources are obtained from the biosphere and have life. Example, human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. On the basis of renewable or replenishable resources. The renewable resources may further be divided into continuous or flow. Example, solar and wind energy, water, forests, and wildlife. Non-renewable resources occurs over a very long geological time. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources like metals are recyclable and some like fossil fuels cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. Individual resources are owned privately by individuals. In villages, people own the plots, the houses, ponds, and wells. And community owned resources accessible to all the people. Example, grazing grounds, burial grounds, as I have shown you. And international national resources are owned by a nation of or a country. All the mineral water resources, forest, wildlife, land within the political boundaries and oceanic area up to 12 nautical lines, that is 22.2 kilometers from the coast, termed as territorial water and resources therein belong to the nation. Example, roads, canals, railways, etc. These are community owned resources. These are the natural resources, international, and they're based on the development. Potential resources we have. For potential resources are the resources which are found in the region but have not been utilized. Example, Rajasthan and Gujarat have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly. What are developed resources? The resources which are surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on technology and level of their feasibility. Stock. Example we can take as hydrogen can be used as a rich source of energy, but we do not have advanced technology to use. And reserves are the subset of the stock, which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know-how, but their use has not been started. These can be used for meeting future requirements. Example, water in the dams, forest, etc. is a reserve which can be used in the future. What do you mean by the development of resources? It is the process of developing the resources in order to make them useful for satisfying human wants. Some resources cannot be used directly. What are the different problems created by indiscriminate exploitation of resource? Depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of a few individuals. Many resources got depleted. Example, forest. Resources got accumulated in the hands of few people. The society is divided into rich and poor. So, what is sustainable economic development? It means development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the needs of future generations. Why sustainable development is important? Many of the resources are non-renewable and exhaustible. Over-exploitation of these resources will affect the needs of the future generations. Environmental pollution has become a major threat to the survival of human beings. Imagine if the oil supply gets exhausted one day. How would this affect our life? What should we do? For that, we should plan resource planning.